Hello, in today's demonstration, I'm going to do some paint layering practice. I'm going to use a light yellow Hansa by Liquitex, a tropical green by Charvin, and an ash blue by Charvin. I'm going to begin with my Hansa Yellow, and I'm going to demonstrate making a wash. I'm going to use my Wooster. I think it's almost a 3 inch brush. Going to add some water to that, liquefy it as best I can evenly. And because this is practice, I'm going to apply it to a sheet of watercolor paper. This is something to do ongoing to practice layers and paint manipulation. Okay. So there's the wash. Then I'm going to take a charcoal pencil and make some random lines. Okay. Now I'm going to take the tropical green paint. I'm going to use my angled palette knife. So this is practicing layers, but also using tools. So I can come right up to one of these lines very lightly and let the paint glide off. This will give me a nice crisp edge. Now I have this paper taped down, but if I didn't, I could rotate it and get into some of these other areas. Okay, so I'm going right up to that edge with impasto paint. Then I'm going to come up to, actually, I'm going to do this one, or maybe I'm going to do this one. We'll see if I can get my paint tube open. Oh my. Wouldn't you know, that is really glued shut. Might have to switch to another color. Oh dear. Okay, I got a switch. I'm going to go to a brilliant blue by Liquitex. Again, using my angled palette knife. Yep, I'm going to have to turn my paper. There's just no way. Okay, so I'm going to turn this. Then I can get in here, right up. Actually, I'm going to go to this one, right up here, so that I see that line showing. I have a little bit of a, I'm going to call it a gutter. Yeah, I got to be able to rotate this. Which I think is good for you to see. You have to see that you got to rotate it to get the right angle. So now I've got a really nice, I've got a gutter with paint right next to each other, but the yellow and a little bit of that charcoal line showing through. When you're painting, you could also do it without the charcoal line. So I could go like this. Good to have a paper towel. And then I could go like this. So I've got two colors and the underpainting showing through. Another choice is, here, I'm just going to bring this over here. Is to have paint instead of a gap. Ideally, that would be dry. So color right next to color. So color, those two colors interacting right next to each other. That is a different feeling than having this yellow showing through. So paint side by side. Let's see. I'm going to use my flat brush. Then I can go paint on top of, again, ideally this would be dry. I'm using the low 45-degree angle. I'm dragging. I'm getting a little bit of dry brush going on here. Something else to practice. Okay, so paint this darker color on top of that blue, lighter blue, or actually tropical green. Now I'm going to go tropical green on top of the darker blue. Okay, so I think you can see, hopefully, the difference of this on top of that. Let me put more over here, and the light on top of the dark. Again, ideally that would be dry. Okay, so you're really working on levels here. What's on top, what's underneath, or you could say front and back. Then I can play with other things like scraping through and excavating to a bottom layer. There we go. Okay. But really getting comfortable with side by side, on top of, underneath, scraping through, doing a little sgraffito here. And this is a good thing to do if you want to paint, but you don't want to commit to a whole painting. You can do this, and you can also see how whatever color palette you're using is how the colors are interacting. Okay, and I think that's it. So go ahead and practice paint layering. Wash, palette knife, impasto, a little bit of dry brush, overlapping.